Is Steel Vengeance the greatest roller coaster in the world? Well, that depends on who you ask. You see, being the tallest or the fastest just doesn't hold the same weight as it did in the past. Newer technologies have allowed coasters to evolve in ways we couldn't imagine years ago. We use hydraulics to help us fly, magnetic plates to launch us forward, backward, up mountains, and even out of a volcano. Cables to accelerate us to speeds never thought possible. Instead of riding on top of the track, we can now hang below it, or over to the side. We can even hang over top of the drop for a few seconds before racing back to Earth. Slow lift hills have been replaced with fast cable lifts. 90-degree drop angles were always the goal, but now the track can even fold under for beyond vertical drops. We hit 200 feet, 300 feet, and even 400 feet. We drop straight down, spin down, and we even have coasters where the track drops with the coaster. So is it even possible that a coaster less than half the height of the one beside it still features a traditional chain lift hill and relies on pure gravity to finish the rest of the ride, even be considered the best in the world in 2019? Let's find out. So what makes a roller coaster great? Well, there are a lot of things, but I'd say it comes down to height, airtime, intensity, speed, comfort, and hype. So let's start with height. This is the one area that gets everyone excited. To the coaster enthusiasts, this is what makes them travel hundreds and in some cases even thousands of miles to ride coasters. But to someone who doesn't ride coasters as much, this will generally terrify them more than any other element they can see. Height is important, but it's not always honest. If you need an example, look no further than Maverick. It's only 105 foot tall, but the drop will knock your socks off. Steel Vengeance is not the tallest coaster in the world, and in fact it's not even close, but it does currently hold the title for the tallest hybrid coaster. It's 205 foot tall, which puts it in the hyper category, and the first drop is astonishing. Next up is my personal favorite element on a coaster, airtime. This is the one area a coaster enthusiast can look at the entire coaster and know how good or bad it'll be. But once again, the person who doesn't ride coasters that often will still be staring at that first drop trying to decide if it's going to give them that feeling in their belly. There are two types of airtime, floater and ejector. And while I love them both, nothing can match ejector when you have comfortable restraints. Steel Vengeance boasts the world record for the most airtime of any coaster on the planet, nearly 30 seconds. So yeah, that first drop has 2 to 3 seconds, and the rest of the ride will feature nearly 27 more seconds worth. So if you're scared of the first drop, you're going to be in for a ride you'll never forget. The next important element on a coaster is intensity. Now, I love an intense ride. A few that come to mind would be Afterburn from Carowinds and Montu from Busch Gardens Tampa. And while I absolutely love these rides, they do lack good height and I rarely get any airtime on them. But I love them simply because of how smooth and intense they are. But with Steel Vengeance, this is just not the case. Not only does this ride feature the most airtime of any coaster in the world, it is absolutely the most intense ride that I have ever rode. If you're not being ejected out of your seat, you're upside down or in the middle of the structure switching directions. Steel Vengeance brings it the entire ride. It gives you no time whatsoever to catch your breath, and when it ends, you will say to yourself, what in the world just happened? Next up is speed. Speed is so important to the experience of a coaster. It's that feeling of the wind in your face and it feels good. Speed will get your adrenaline pumping and bring the coaster to life. Now, Steel Vengeance isn't the fastest coaster ever, but it hits a very respectful 74 miles an hour and you will know it. And the comfort of your restraints plays a major role in the experience of the ride. Most people never think about how comfortable the restraints on a ride are going to be until they're banging their head on the side of the over-the-shoulder restraint, or they're getting smashed in so tight they can only wiggle a toe. I absolutely love the trains on Steel Vengeance. They feature only a lap bar that fits comfortably around your legs with 2 grips to hold on to. And last but not least is hype. Just like everything in life, hype seems to make things better. You can have a great song, but as soon as it reaches number 1, it takes off like you couldn't imagine. Hype makes things funner. You wouldn't want to wait in line 2 hours for Corkscrew, but you wouldn't think twice about that wait on Steel Vengeance because everybody wants to ride it. Steel Vengeance is without a doubt one of the most hyped coasters ever built. But is it really one of the best roller coasters in the world? And the answer is yes, absolutely and without a doubt. But this is the real question I want you to think about. Is Steel Vengeance really the best roller coaster in the world? Or has the hype surrounding it overshadowed the forgotten champion?